What's up everybody, welcome back. As you can see, I'm doing something slightly different for my presentation today. Just trying something different because a friend of mine said that it would look nice if I had some gameplay in the back while I ramble on, so this is what I'm doing today. But today I want to talk about a subject that will hopefully not get me in as much trouble as the last video. And that is NBA2K. Now growing up, I wasn't really allowed to play a whole lot of violent video games, or games in general really, because my dad just wasn't real fond of them and all that. So one game that I always was allowed to play was NBA2K, and it was literally the only game I ever played. I only got a console when I turned like 16, 17, and I owned about, I think, 2K13 through 18 at the time. And then of course at a certain point my parents allowed me to upgrade to the PS4, so I was excited because I had just seen that NBA 2K18 had come out with a new park and that it was going to look cool and it was all like up to date and just it was going to be something completely different than the last gen. So that's why I feel so fond of NBA 2K, is because I grew up on these games and I still play these games even now, even like the older ones and the ones currently. But something kind of happened that has made me lose faith in the franchise itself. And I could talk about the downfall of 2K as a company, like when it started and each game and what went wrong, but I want to focus mainly on 2K24 because that is the one that has convinced me that I am going to stop buying these games. So for a while I had taken a break from playing NBA 2K, I just kind of lost interest of it and I decided to move on to other games. But then I got 2K23 and it was okay. I mean, I still played other games and I didn't really grind it as much, but the game was alright. I had my issues, but I wasn't complaining too hard. But then 2K24 came out and I decided I was going to purchase it. But it was so bad that when I purchased it, within 2 days I decided to refund the game because I just did not see the value in keeping that game. Especially since I already had 2K23 that I had purchased, so I just figured, you know what, I'm going to keep this game and I'm just going to continue to play 23. But then later on, while I was browsing Xbox Game Pass, I saw that it was free, 2K24 of course, was free on Game Pass. So I decided, you know what, I'll get rid of 23 and I'll give 24 another chance, because maybe I got rid of it too soon and hey, it's free. What could I possibly lose? And to be completely honest, I think I was right to refund the game when I first got it, because man, I knew there were issues with this game, and this franchise in particular, but I had always kind of ignored them because like I said, I grew up on these games. I didn't want to believe that there was an issue going on. I remember when NBA Live was a thing, those games were kind of gaining a little bit of popularity, and I decided to stick by 2K because, you know, I had grown up with those games. I felt like a loyalty to them. So even though I could see issues back then, I didn't want to believe it. But maybe it's just the fact that I've opened my eyes to more games and I've come to lose that loyalty. Is I'm starting to see the flaw in not even just this game, but like the trend that has been happening. So I want to talk about a few things that I've noticed with 2K24 in particular that has just convinced me that this company is a lost cause, and I don't think I should be giving them any more money. So of course I'm going to be talking a lot about my career because that's what I play. That I don't really touch my team as much, so honestly if you came to this video hoping to hear a little bit about that, sorry to disappoint you, but I'm probably not going to mention it as much, just even if at all, because I hardly play that mode. But the first thing I noticed that really kind of bothered me with this game was when you launch it. Now, who is the cover art? It is Kobe. And the game actually brought back something that I was hoping they would bring back for a while now, and that's a game intro. You see, I would always get hyped for the intros of like 2K14, 2K16, even the ones, I can't remember if it's like 2K11 or 2K12, that had all it had the "basketball is my favorite sport." That song. I would get so hyped, and when I saw that they had an intro, I was pumped. But it just kind of bothered me that, like, you know, he died 4 years ago. And it seems like every opportunity they get, they try to milk his legacy. Especially with, like, the Kobe Bryant moments and stuff like that. And the fact that he's strung everywhere. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't bother other people, and maybe it wasn't out of ill intent. But just the fact that they plastered him so much over this entire game, and they've kind of done that before, it just feels unnecessary. It feels like they're trying to bait people with nostalgia. But then you skip the intro and you get into like the menu screen, and you are introduced with an advertisement. Now, I paid full price for this game, and I am already being advertised their other modes, buying VC, and now, of course, because 2K25 is coming out in September, I'm being advertised that game. And the annoying thing is, it's not like off to the side or like even in the middle, just like out of the way. No, if I push A when it pops up, it automatically sends me to the store to try to purchase this. And I've done it a few times. Now, of course, like I can just exit right out of it, but it's irritating how every single time I open this game, it's asking me to spend more money for a game that I've already paid $70. Now, granted, I got this free, but most people aren't getting this game for free, and I'm pretty sure that the fact that it's on Game Pass is because they aren't really making a whole lot of money on people that are purchasing this as a new time comer. Moving on from that and going into my career, it automatically starts you in the middle of the city. Now, what is the issue with this exactly? Well, my career makes its money from people that will purchase VC and play online. And you can see that they're stripping more and more away the NBA aspect of my career in favor of the park. They put you in the middle, they give you some pointers, and then they tell you to go start an affiliation. And from there, even if you want to play the NBA games, you go to the NBA like section of it. It's kind of out of the way. It's not really like as advertised. It's not that big of a deal. And even the story is just so stripped back. There's hardly any story. You're already pretty much drafted. You're already like in the game, and the only thing that they add in terms of story is, I think it's like your dad and your grandpa were like legacy players and stuff like that. But it's not even part of the story. It's like a different mode that like you play one game as each of those players, and that's it. There is nothing beyond this. So with them focusing less and less on the NBA aspect of this game, you'd think, okay, well maybe then like the park is supposed to be like a little more refined. It's supposed to have a lot more features. No, not exactly. The only courts in this entire city are offline, or the two Elite and Rise courts that are completely opposite sides of the map. And that's something else that I've seen somebody else point out. But they make this map so big that it looks like it's full of stuff, but there's hardly anything actually filling in this space. And it's so hard to move in between things. Like, they have the subway system, but it's so spaced out that they incentivize you to try to buy one of the hoverboards or the go-karts and stuff like that, or the jetpack. So it's so stripped back, but at least the gameplay is refined, right? Well, I mean, I'm not gonna come on here and say that no, it's awful, because I've heard people say that, but I've played it and it's not bad. But I will say that one aspect that I really hate is the shooting. Everybody has complained about the shooting, and for good reason. You green it or you miss. And I just, personally, I don't like that system. I like the idea that it's really hard to green it, but if you green it, it's guaranteed to go in. And anything below that is kind of a percentage of whether or not it will go in. If you full white it, it should go in, but there's a chance it doesn't. But the issue is, if you make it so that you have to green it in order to make it, if you're playing online, you have to deal with like lag and latency and stuff like that. And what if you're playing with other people that just are playing on a potato? So you either have to spend hours trying to figure out how exactly you're going to shoot this ball so that it will always green, or you just have to play like a center position, or somebody that just doesn't have to shoot in general. So you've already taken away an aspect of the game that somebody might want to get into, but they just can't due to like lag and stuff like that. I know that people are actually working on these games, because I do see clear improvement, especially in AI. I've gone back and I've revisited games, even games that I'm nostalgic for, like 2K14. But the AI in those games is not as good as I remember it. So I can clearly see like that there are some gameplay improvements. It's just irritating that some of the biggest ones, like shooting, seem to just get refined or in all the wrong ways possible. Like, they're always tweaking it and they're always messing with it, and they haven't gotten it right. And I don't know if it's our fault or their fault or what, but I feel like this should be a problem that should be fixed by now. And moving on to the biggest thing, which I'm pretty sure everybody expects me to talk about, and I will. It's the microtransactions. This game is so greedy, so incredibly greedy. they will try to pinch you for every dollar that you possibly can. You're telling me that I pay $70, again, not me, but most people, but I'm paying $70 for this game, and you're going to implement a battle pass? Really? A battle pass. The games that I'm thinking of that do that are free. And on top of that, most games that do battle passes or like, you know, really push like microtransactions and stuff like that are mostly cosmetic. Like a lot of these games really even the playing field outside of your ability to buy cosmetics with like real money and stuff like that. But 2K does both. You can buy cosmetics, but you also have to upgrade your player with that same currency. So let's say I just bought the game and I've already spent my $70, so I've convinced myself, alright, I'm not going to spend another penny on this game. I'm just going to play it and try to have fun. Well, you start as a 60 overall. You have 0 rep and you have the brown shirt. So you're already looked down upon by other players, the same players you have to play with, that will leave the game if you try to play with them. So there is no chance of you ever stepping foot on an online court. So you either, one, have to grind away at a mode that you might not want to play, NBA, or two, you pay money. Well, let's say you choose the one that doesn't require you to spend actual currency. And trust me, I used to not play online. I would always stick to the NBA part because that was the mode that appealed to me as a kid. Even then, I've seen over the years, it takes a lot of time for you to get to that point where you can at least be a high enough overall player to even be looked upon, or at least have other people not leave the game the moment that you show up. I can't remember the math exactly, but in my head right now, I'd say it takes about maybe at least 30 hours to get to like an 85 overall. Even the way the ratings work, an 85 overall is technically not even really good when you take it online. I'd say at least maybe like a 90 to a 95 is where you're finally able to actually participate in games. Oh, but remember, you're still wearing default clothing, so now you gotta go and purchase some actual clothing so that it doesn't look like you're using the free clothing that 2K gives you, or the standard, you know, brown shirt and all that. So now you gotta grind harder to put on actual clothes. And don't forget the rep system that now you have to upgrade, because you can't get that offline. So now you gotta grind harder and harder and harder to finally get to a point where you can actually play with other people online. And then you have to work harder so that you can get your rep up, your skill level up, the season level up, and all that, just so that you can play a normal game. And not only that, because of the battle pass that ends every 40 days, you have to continue to keep up this level of reputation. Along with the fact that they also introduced badge regression, which maybe they thought in their mind that was a good idea, but no, it's an awful idea. It sucks. For example, the guy that I have right now is an inside the arc maestro, and the way I built him was that I wanted him to like play inside the paint, dunk, block, all that jazz. But I also wanted to give him like good passing, and I wanted to give him a slight mid-range shot so that if they're giving me the space, I can pull up. But the problem is it's completely useless because it's not good enough for me to rely on it at any game. It's supposed to be used for like every once in a while I can pull up for a mid-range shot. But because I'm most likely either going to miss it or just not shoot that mid-range at all in the game, I can never upgrade those badges. I'm going to sit at a constant bronze or silver badge because of this badge regression. My dunking and my defense is going to be fine, and I will continue to hold that at a pretty good spot, honestly. But due to the badge regression, I can never shoot. So that part of my build that I've spent so much time and effort into making and like upgrading and stuff like that is completely useless now. And I could have put that to a different build, but the problem is, if I want to try to go back and redo that, then I gotta spend even more time and or money. Let me show you how much VC it would cost you to make a build from scratch. So just for fun, I made this brand new slashing playmaker point guard build. It's a 60 overall, and because I hit 90 in one of my other builds, I'm able to upgrade it all the way to a 90. So let's just go see how much that would cost. Alright, so to go from a 60 overall to a 90 overall, you need 256,000 VC. That's insane. Now I already have some VC up there, of course, but let's say that we're starting from scratch. Like I said, we're going to see how much this would cost us in real world dollars. So we would need the 200,000 VC pack, And we would probably need, let's be a little generous with our money and get the 75,000 pack as well. They're both marked down, but with $45 and $18, that comes out to $63. $63. 63 to not even fully upgrade it. This only goes up to a 90 overall. A 90. So it's going to cost even more to go from here. Let's say double just to get to a 99. On top of that, I have to do so much work to actually upgrade this guy, and I got to get him clothes. I got to make him look all dripped out. But that's just going to cost me even more. I'm spending almost double on VC than I did this game. This game is like $70. You're spending about like 150 VC if you're going to use just one build. One build. No more, no less. We're starting from scratch. We're trying to get our guy upgraded. And you're probably going to do more than one build because obviously, you know, it kind of spices up the gameplay to try a different position and all that. But $150 for one build. That is insane. And there are so many other things in this game that I just completely hate and despise, and I don't know why I continue to play this game. And many others have pointed out that they still continue to give money to this franchise for some reason or the other. It's like an abusive relationship. So with 2K25 coming out, and I'm not hearing too many good things about it, honestly, I've hit a point in my life where I can finally let go of NBA2K. I'm done. Once it releases, once the servers shut down for this game, because again, they want to continue to keep this audience that hates them but will still play their games by shutting down servers to games that they might actually like. That's why you can't go back and play 2K18, 19, 20, 21, is because they want to shut down a game that you paid full price for and probably spent tons and tons of money on just to make you play the new game. But I'm done. I'm done. I'm not giving them any more money. So I don't care if it is free or discounted or whatever. I'm done playing these games. I'm going to go back to the 2K that I actually like. So I actually bought 2K14 and 2K17 because, by the way, they took it off of the Xbox store for what reason? But I'm pretty sure it's just because they know that some people will try to go back to these games. So they try to make it as hard as possible. But no, I found these. I found the physical copies, and I'm going to play these instead. And I know in the grand scheme of things, some people might think that it doesn't matter that I'm deciding not to play these games, but honestly, I think everybody else should kind of take the same stance. We complain about these games so much every single year, and it's only getting worse. They're only getting more and more greedy. But we continue to buy them, and I'm guilty of this too. I continue to buy these games. I've taken breaks in between, but I will still purchase these games, despite the fact that I talk about how much I hate them. So I think we all need to finally draw a line and just let NBA 2K know that we're done. We need to stop giving into this. No matter how much it hurts, no matter how much it is that this is the only basketball video game franchise out there right now because NBA Live couldn't keep up, we need to take a stand. We need to let them know that there are other options besides this out there. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play their old games that they aren't making money off of right now, and I will be content. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I wanted to basically rant and rave about this thing because, like I said, I grew up on these games and I had an attachment with them, and I loved them. And I still play NBA 2K24 every once in a while just because, you know, it's free. I have it on, and my friends will come over and we'll play like 3v3s with the computers and stuff like that. But it's just getting to a point where it's not worth it anymore. I'm done. I'm done. So I need to take a stance. But thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about this new format and stuff like that. I would have put up some other gameplay, but honestly, I need to figure out how to get a caption card for my Xbox so I can, like, you know, do relevant games and stuff like that. But I wasn't getting 2K on my PC, so I could screen record it and stuff like that. But thank you so much for watching. Click like, subscribe, and thank you for attending my endless thoughts.
To float, cause I ain't drowning. Sitting under moonlight, then I get to howling.